It's time to fire this thing up. Hayden, do you remember the fiberglass repair that we did to the back of this boat? Remember, we had a couple of air vents that Ben Goujon from West System came in and he was teaching us how to glass those openings shut. We had to kind of fill it in with a fairing compound. And what did you, Uncle Bert, along with Mike, use as a fairing compound?
We used West System's epoxy resin along with their 410 fairing compound.
Okay, now you mix that up and you put in what's called a wipe. And you had to let that dry. You had to let it cure. What did you sand it with first?
We sanded it first with 80 grit.
Okay, then we put in some more. We put in a second wipe, and then what did you sand it
And then
to?
we used 150 grit.
Okay, well, good deal, you made it. Hi, I'm John Greviskis. This is my son, Hayden Greviskis. What we're in is our classic 1966 20-foot Bertram Moppy project boat. And now that that fiberglass repair is done, okay, we're going to be adding SeaDek. But we're also going to be continuing on with our 19-foot Boston Whaler Nantucket. And I don't know if you remember that we powder coated that T-top. Well, today we're going to show you what to do to the T-top prior to installing it. We're also going to be wiring it. And the program is really going to be exciting. And here is just the tease. Man, Hayden, I'm telling you, today is going to rock. And naturally, the program is going to be jam-packed full of tips. And our first one does have to deal with that T-top. And that leads us to Mike from Marine 31.
Well, John, you don't want to use a cleaner wax because what you have back here is brand new powder coating. Instead, what you want to use is a product without any cleaners at all. That would be the Gel Coat Carnauba Wax plus sealant.
This is Mike Phillips, and Mike, for many, many years, has been a professional boat detailer. He's now the director of training at Marine 31. And you're really involved in the formulations and the blendings of all of your detailing products, Mike. And, you know, we have a lot of round tubing on our T-top, and the powder coater said, John, before you install it to the boat, you want to make sure that you wax this thing with something really good, and that's why I selected you guys, okay? But can we get into the tools? We really don't want to use a machine here because we have a lot of round diameter piping.
Yeah.
Okay, what should we use instead?
Well, this would be great for the hull, but to get around all that piping, this is called a finger pocket. Look, you can slide your fingers right in there, pour your wax right on the face of it, and now you can wrap around the bars and get every square inch of that paint sealed and protected.
How many coats of the wax, how many coats of the Marine 31 should I put onto the brand new powder coating?
2 coats is best, and the reason why is when you apply 2 coats, you ensure uniform coverage, maximum protection.
Okay, now, just like normal wax, you put on a coat, you let it haze. You come back with a microfiber towel and you wipe it. You put on the second coat, covering any areas you might have missed. You let it haze, and you wipe it down. Now, you have an entire line of products here. These are the best marine detailing products out there. How do people at home actually get it?
You want to visit marine31.com, shop from the convenience of your home, we'll ship it right to your door. Made by boat people, for boat people.
ShipShape TV, the global leader in boat improvement, is being brought to you in part by Sunbrella Marine Beautiful Fabrics. For above and below deck, Sunbrella. We live to be on the water. By Evinrude E-Tech. Power, performance, and 300 hours with no dealer scheduled maintenance. And by Discount Marine Mart, the fastest growing marine co-op of family-owned stores, offering more boaters, more products, more service, lower prices. Get with the program. Discount Marine Mart.
Welcome back. This is a real working 28-acre boatyard / boat building facility residing in Stuart, Florida. It's ShipShape TV's home base. Ideally located, the complex is situated on the shores of the Okeechobee Waterway, which happens to connect the Atlantic Ocean to the Gulf of Mexico. Now, once again, here's the founder and host of ShipShape TV, John Greviskis.
Thanks, Buck. We've gone ahead and moved back to my home base, American Custom Yachts in Stuart, Florida. And now that our T-top is waxed, I want to wire it. And I brought Dominic Lacombe Jr. on the program, who's a true expert. He heads up IMS American. And you guys are probably one of the world's finest marine electronics installers, okay, that there are. And you do some really trick stuff to some boats, okay? What do you call those TVs that kind of raise up out of a cabinet?
They're actually pop-up lifts, John. We have that style as well as flip-down lifts that we can install on boats or homes.
Okay, now you work with all the major marine electronics companies with radars and GPSs and all that.
Yep.
But I've been to some homes here in the area that you guys have actually done. You do a lot of entertainment systems for people. And some of the intricacies that you guys can do programming-wise with the remotes on multiple screens or security cameras or whatever is just off the charts,
Thank
man.
you.
But what we have to do is, remember, I had to pull all of the original wire from the T-top off prior to it getting sandblasted and then prior to it getting powder coated.
Okay.
Well, I have to run some new wire down. What gauge of wire, how thick of wire should we run from our battery up through eventually the T-top? And I want to bring in this right here. This is a fiberglass electronics box.
Okay.
What type of wire should we use?
You should always stick to a marine grade copper tin, and we've chosen 10-2 for this length of run based on...
Who dictates the thickness of the wire?
Actually, there's an organization called ABYC.
Okay, and the ABYC is the American Boat and Yacht Council, and this governing body oversees boat builders, making sure that they're building boats safely for us consumers. Now, we're going to have to connect this 10-2 wire to the battery. What connectors would you recommend?
John, we'll start with the ring terminal at the battery here.
Okay, and we would crimp this on, and this is heat shrink that we would heat up, and that's going to seal the copper tinned wire so that no corrosion could get in.
Exactly.
So we've got the battery end taken care of. What are we going to do inside the electronics box? Because I want to distribute some power. I'm thinking about marine speakers. I'm thinking about a VHF radio, a stereo I want to put in here. What do we do?
Actually, we like to use this Blue Sea Systems fuse block, which actually carries your positive and your negative leads into it as well.
Okay, so we're going to have to bring one leg of this to one side. That'll be our positive, and then we'll have to run it back to our negative.
Exactly.
Okay, and this is also a built-in ground block.
Exactly.
Okay. What are the fuses about?
Well, actually, we'd like to fuse any piece of equipment that you like to put on the boat for proper protection. You'd like to fuse the equipment to protect yourself from having to replace expensive equipment down the road when you have a surge or some sort of electrical shock.
Dominic, there are a lot of complicated curves and twists going into the frame of this T-top. What are we going to use fish-wise?
Okay, well, actually, we brought two different styles of fish that we like to use on the boats. The first being a more flexible fiberglass style, allows you to make a lot of different curves that you're talking about on this particular T-top. And if you have a few straighter runs or shorter runs, the steel tape is actually easier to pull. It stays much sturdier and allows the wire to go along with it.
What's the black cord all about?
John, the black cord is for future protection from having to run wires. You've already run your wires in the boat, but at the same time, if you pull yourself and ensure yourself you have this type of cord, next time when you go to add something to your box, add something to your T-top, you have something to pull from.
You always want to leave a fish back behind if you ever need to add an accessory.
Exactly.
That is awesome. Okay, like I mentioned, a good quality marine electronics installer is kind of hard to find. They're few and far between. How would somebody at home get a hold of IMS American?
You can actually check us out on our website at imsamerican.com.
Hey, Bolton, ShipShape TV will be back in a snap. Welcome back. You're watching ShipShape TV. Boat improvement made easy.
John, what you're looking at here is my wife and I on a friend's boat. She opens the door to the head and boy, it knocks her out, the smell.
Okay. Now, these are not visual problems. These are sensed by the nostrils.
Right.
And this can be a real issue. Hey, welcome back. We have changed locations on you. We're now out on the eastern end of Long Island in a town called Riverhead. And we're in the warehouse at Lighthouse Marine Supply. And this is my really good friend, Cleet Galasso. And he's known as the Part Man. He's been on the show many, many, many times. And this is a huge problem. I know that you carry all of the gear in relationship to sanitation on a boat. Who are some of the big players with porta potties, with manual toilets, with electric toilets?
Well, the big players are Groco, Raritan, Johnson, Japsco, and Sealand.
Okay. Now, why is it that after somebody buys a new boat, maybe it's 3-4 years, it really starts stinking? You're really smelling the sanitation system. Is there something leaking? Is there something permeating through anything?
Well, most of the time the boat builders will use an inexpensive hose, and the odor will permeate through the hose.
Okay.
So what we like to do is upgrade to a better hose. It's only $2 or $3 a foot more, but it'll reduce the odor emitting from the hose.
At the base of these toilets, you'll have gaskets and stuff.
Right.
Do those ever break down? Do those ever need to be replaced?
Just like the hose, they're affected by the chemicals in the waste, and they will break down, they'll dry out, they'll crack, and then you'll get little weeping into the bowl area and onto the bilge.
How challenging is that for somebody at home, a boat owner, to replace these parts? Maybe it's a macerator, or maybe it's the gaskets. Is this a tough job?
It's not very hard at all, John. You know, if you give us the model of the toilet, and we can help you get the right repair kit, and we can walk you through the rebuilding process.
That's what's so cool about Lighthouse, is they freely give this information out. Okay, so you deal with gaskets, you deal with hose. Do Y valves like this is a Y valve to where you can have your waste go into either a holding tank, or you can have your waste go overboard if you're way offshore. Some people do that. Do these ever break down?
Well, these, you're constantly switching them from the holding tank back to overboard discharge, so it has some moving parts in it, and they will bind up after a while.
Now, holding tanks, do these, I see that we have one right here. Could you pick that up?
Sure.
Who's the big manufacturer of these holding tanks?
The biggest manufacturer right now is Moeller.
Okay.
And we carry a full line of Moeller holding tanks.
Okay, now we've been to Moeller, and we've shown everybody how they mold these plastics into these aluminum molds and everything else. Do these plastics, over time, will they permeate the smell of the waste?
Yeah, same thing with the hose, John. They will after a while, so it's a good idea after 10 years to replace the holding tank.
Okay, let's talk about minor smell issues. Is there anybody in the marine industry that's making chemicals to treat it to where we might not have to replace anything right now? Maybe we'll just wait down the line a little bit?
Yeah, you can use a good brand like Mary Kate or Sudbury or Thetford for the time being.
Okay, but eventually you are going to have to replace parts. You're known as the part man. But Cleet, you've revamped the website. This is so cool. If you haven't gone to partman.com lately, this is awesome, because in real time, they let you know how many items they have of a particular part, okay, in stock. And that's what Lighthouse Marine Supply is most known for, is they put their money in inventory. If you walk around the warehouse, like where I'm at, okay, it is just shelf after shelf after shelf of nothing but marine inventory. And when you call their staff, they pack these UPS trucks and they ship them out all over the country constantly. But give everybody again, one last time, the website.
Partman.com.
What you're looking at are the two fiberglass repair areas on the aft section of our 20-foot Bertram Moppy. And right out in front of that, you'll see a material. This is the SeaDek. This is what I want to install over top of the repair. And who we have back on the program is Jason Gardner from SeaDek. And thank you, my friend, for coming by.
Thanks for having us.
Can we kind of begin with what exactly SeaDek is and why this gives such great traction?
Sure. This is an EVA foam, ethylene vinyl acetate, non-absorbent. It's real similar to a sandal foam, so it's soft, but it's really durable.
Now, you did some patterns in the boat a couple weeks back, and you took those patterns to your shop, and your CNC machines cut this all out. Now, guys at home, they can make their own patterns and send them to you, and I know that you straighten out lines and everything else.
Sure.
But they also do a lot of the SeaDek for boat builders, and there are a lot of popular models out there to where people can go to your website, right, and they can kind of order whatever they want.
Sure, we have a lot of make and models already on the web store. You can go on, build your own pad if we already have it, and if not, like you said, you can template your own boat and make a new one.
I think it was 2 years ago, we had you on the show, and it was a Boston whaler that had some spider cracks in it, the molded in non-skid.
Yep,
and what
right.
I'm talking about here is that molded in non-skid was a really good reference for the lines and lining up our SeaDek pads down onto. I don't have this on the Bertram, okay? How can I ensure that these pads are going to be straight? Do you have any tips?
Sure, I have a couple of tricks and tips we'll show you today. Basically, it's like laying out pieces of a puzzle. You lay them down, you get it the way you like it, looks good. We'll score the paper backing. We'll tape down one side real well so the pad can't shift. We'll peel the backing on the other side, stick it down, take the tape off, and repeat the process on the other side. It's really a simple process.
Why are there so many pieces here? Why is this not just one big piece of SeaDek?
Well, aesthetically, it's kind of an interesting look to have these beveled edges. It also allows water to run off. There's lots of functional reasons.
Okay. Now, we do have a lot of pieces to put in, so can we show everybody the progression?
Sure, absolutely.
Let's get to work.
Let's do it.
Hey, Jonathan, swim up on the SeaDek and tell everybody how much traction you're getting. You're completely wet, you're completely slippery.
It's complete traction. I mean, I'm not slipping at all on this.
Okay, well, we got the whole production crew out on the boat, and Jason, this SeaDek looks absolutely fantastic. This is a great alternative to a spider crack molded in non-skid deck. It just sticks right down. We installed this in what, like an hour?
Yeah, right about an hour. Went in pretty easy. And,
okay. Now, also, I cannot believe how comfortable this is to walk on, guys. This is kind of like walking on a pair of sandals all over the boat, and it doesn't get hot. We're in the full sun. This does not get hot at all. Right. How do people get you? Please give us your website.
It's SeaDek.com, SeaDek.com. Everything you need is on there. Our contact information, all the various makes and models, template kits, raw sheet material, everything you need is on the website.
Dude, it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you. And now, guys, it's time for our next tip. So if we could, let's go ahead and roll it.
John, what you're watching here is a professional application of All Grip to a 57-foot sports fish. All Grip is the best marine paint in the world.
This is Jim Seidel, the marketing manager for All Grip in Interlux. And Jim, not everybody at home has the budget to have a boat professionally sprayed. But there is a technique that'll save them money, yet give them the results of a sprayed finish. It's called rolling and tipping. And I want to talk about some paint that we have here on the table. This first one is called Bright Side. This is called Perfection. This is called All Grip. And is one paint more durable than another?
Well, the two-part paints are going to be definitely more durable than the one part. The one part's a little easier to use, but the two parts are going to hold up longer.
Okay. Now, with All Grip, do you have to add any type of a reducer or brushing catalyst?
Yeah, the brushing converter, there's a special, this is the brushing converter for the All Grip, and you would add brushing thinner.
Okay. Let's kind of explain to everybody about the different tools that we'll need. Let's talk rollers.
Two rollers that we recommend. This is a 7-inch foam roller, thin nap. You don't lay a whole lot of paint down at one time, and it rolls a nice stripe out, and you get 7 to 9 inch stripe with that. I also like this one. It's a 4-inch roller. Holds a lot of paint, but doesn't lay it all down at one time, and this is a nice roller to use as well.
This is best done as a two-man job, where the first person will actually roll a stripe of paint, starting at the water line and working up to the rub rail.
Right.
Okay, and then a second man comes back with what?
Well, you get a good brush, a China bristle brush or a badger hair brush, and lightly touch it off, just lightly touch with the brush just to take out the roller marks. It's just a light touch with the brush and either vertically or horizontally to blend the stripes together.
Okay, now you're going to want to work all the way around the hull of the boat. You're probably going to have to give it 2 to 3 coats, and it's going to absolutely look amazing. And if somebody at home wanted to learn more about some of these techniques, either All Grip or the Perfection, do you have any websites for anybody?
For All Grip, go to allgrip.com, and for Interlux, go to yachtpaint.com.
That's right. Our project today is pretty much complete, which means we're now back on the water with John.
back at my dock at the house, we had John Adnoffy from AA Boat Tops and Canvas string on our new shade onto our powder coating. And we're now back out on the water, and we do have John on the program. And I want to point out a couple of things. John, this light right here, I was looking through the Birdsall Marine Design catalog for a new light, and actually I was going to go fluorescent. This is LED, and it gives me a choice. Very low power draw, either blue or white light, and I think it looks very, very great. And everything's wired and everything's installed. And guys, we don't have time to talk about all of the issues with mounting hardware and isolating things, but if you go to the Facebook page and look at the quick tips after the show, you're going to get a lot more information. And John, we had you on a program recently. You invented this fin holder and more.
Yes.
And you've installed a couple onto the Boston Whaler. And show everybody how this is different. This isn't one that slides into a track. This zips on.
This has a zipper, forms a pocket to go on the handrail.
Now, what do we have stored here, and what's the function of the fin holder?
We've taken our fins that would normally be on the deck or in a bucket and stuck them in the fin holder and more in these deep pockets.
I don't know if you've ever tripped over gear, if a fishing rod goes off, okay, and you're trying to catch a fish, but it happens all the time. And these things are very, very practical. We have another one up here. We're using it for tubing, okay? This is Paige's life jacket. Look at how huge those pockets are, okay? And then we have our tow line. And these are very, very functional, and I see a lot of people using them for towels and for suntan lotion, whatever. Okay, these are cool. How much are they? Where do they get them?
They start out at $69.99. Finholderandmore.com is the online store.
All right, lobster season, mini season's coming up real soon, okay? And you want to kind of pre-order these things, which is really, really cool. Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
For all the hard work. We also need to thank our friends over at Marine 31. Mike Phillips was on the program. That is a great wax, guys. But you know what? The most important one that we need to thank here, that's right, has been you. Thanks so much for hanging out with us right here on the beautiful water's edge for the last half hour, but we've got to go. But how about this? How about until we see each other again, can you do yourself a favor? Can you get out there and make your boat ship shape? Of course you can. I'm John Greviskis, again, John Adnoffy. We'll see you next time. You know, John, what if we did a vinyl seat here?
Okay.
White with a matching red stripe. I think it would tie the whole color coordination into it.
Sure would. It look awesome.
Closed captioning for Ship Shape TV has been made possible by Marine 31 boat waxes, cleaners, and polishes. At Marine 31, quality and value stand above all else. Professional results are only a few simple steps away. Marine 31, for the captain that demands the best for their boat.